traveled, and it's a weekday. I'm off from work. It is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm running Alice out today. I'm gonna stop by the mechanics and see if he's there and see if he can hook up the heater wires so that I can test the heater boxes. So when I first got the engine put in and we were finished with it, of course, it was April, beginning of summer, and so the connections for the actual function of the heater he left unhooked. And I ran into him the other day and he said, "How's the heat working in the bus?" And it dawned on me, I haven't needed it. Don't even need it today, but I thought, you know, for go forward for the next couple of months and, you know, not being able to get to see him or whatever, that maybe he's there today and I can stop by and have that hooked up, and then we can try to run some heat in it and see. So I'm not camping or anything, but I have driven it in utterly freezing cold, and it's not fun. So anyway, on the road, run a couple of errands and go see if he's available, and also go visit some family. So back at ya. Holy macaroni, it's hot. I got distracted by a incoming phone call and blew right by. But I don't see him there. So we'll turn around. I might be able to figure out how to wire it myself. I mean, I'm sure it's just putting two wires together. I have done that before. So anyway, this is my guy's shop and he is out. So I will see what I can do and try to put it together myself, but don't need it today. It's gorgeous out. So heading over to see some family. This one here is a freak. She is freaky. Miss Sammy is 13 years old and as obsessive compulsive today as she was the day I adopted her. Oh, just drove past a skunk. Hope that doesn't rub off. Weather's marvelous. And so this afternoon, in a few minutes, I'm headed over to visit my father, who has been in memory care for going on 2 years. Was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's about 7 years ago. And, you know, a couple of years ago, kind of came to the determination that my mother couldn't take care of him by herself anymore. She was having issues, heart-wise, which was putting her in the hospital. And so we decided that we can't have two people out. She has AFib and, you know, treatable, and she's been great, but she did spend 3 times in the emergency room just from stress and all of that. And so my father went into Alzheimer's care in February of 2020, perfect timing for the COVID lockdown, because actually it was January and lockdown happened in February. So correct myself. Late January he went in, and literally 2 weeks later they locked the facility down. And we were, as a family, and my mother as the spouse, unable to visit him face to face and touching until September of 2020. And I have to say that whole facilitation of trying to be safe did more damage to people than it helped. And the lack of touch, conversation, stimulation was borderline criminal. And we tried to do the window visits, but he was unable to understand what was happening. You could not explain it to him. He didn't wear his hearing aids anymore, so trying to talk to him through a window screen, and in this facility you could only lift the window up like this far, so you're literally like talking through 2 inches of screen to somebody that's just unable to comprehend and put 2 and 2 together on what's going on. It was we were finally able to get in September of last year, the decline was so rapid, and we were unable to, we went from A to Z like that within that 7-month period of time, and then, it just continued to spiral. So we are at the point this past weekend over the Thanksgiving holiday, that he took a turn. He's tired, and he wants to sleep, and he's starting not to eat, and so we're having to start to facilitate the next step, and it's so hard. It is so hard. My parents have been married since 1963, and I had a loss 3 years ago. My husband went through the hospice process for cancer, and so I have the familiarity of having to let somebody go. And so I'm coming at this right now anyway from a very studious, kind of maybe not as emotional standpoint, because been there, done that. But I'm harboring things, harboring feelings, and you can't go into this and trying to help somebody through this process just whack out emotional. It doesn't work. You've got to have some logic to your processing, logic to your handling of the situation, because emotions don't help. There's time for that. So, long story short today anyway, too late, is that I'm going to go spend a few hours with my dad, who's bedridden now, eating a little bit, in and out, and all you can do is go be present and love on them while they're still here. So, and help with maintaining dignity in the dying process. So, Alzheimer's sucks, and this is my one last rant. I don't want to end on without a rant. These organizations that are raising money and ribbons and this and walks and that, cure it already. Enough with the walks, okay? You've got money, you've raised money, cure it. With that, I'm out. So a little better light on the video. I was driving with the sun blaring in on me. My visit with my father went really well. He is bedridden, and since this past weekend, but he was alert at lunch, eating a little bit, and awake afterwards, and just kind of laying there and looking around, and I think probably processing who's staring at him. The one thing that I do notice is that he can't talk, but he's trying to mumble things to you, and you have no idea what he's saying, or you can't hear him, number one, and then he can't format. He's not really formatting words, but in his mind he's saying all kinds of things, and it's horrible that you can't understand what he's trying to get out. But one thing that's still there a bit is his ability to understand wit and sarcasm, and so that's something, a connection that in our family anyway, we've always had about, you know, kind of making jokes and things like that, and you know, having that kind of biting sarcasm, but I will say not at the expense of anybody, just, you know, joking. And there's still a spark there with some of that, understanding what you know, I'm saying, or, you know, making a laugh, you know. My mother said something like, "Oh, I'm back like a bad penny," you know, and he could kind of roll his eyes like, "Oh, yeah, you're right, you are there." So there's some of that, and that helps, you know, kind of see that there's still a spark despite the Alzheimer's. So we'll go back in a couple of days and visit him. It's hard to get there with work and whatnot, but anyway, go back and visit him in a couple of days and go from there and see where this path takes our family. Did I say Alzheimer's sucks?